Well, we are joined at this stage by Dr. Ramanjaneyulu, the founder and executive director at the Center for Sustainable Agriculture. Thank you so much for being with us. I think for the benefit of our viewers, we really need to understand what the crisis is now. Is it an unsold harvest and an uncertain sowing season ahead? Is that what we are looking for? And how does this affect millions of people, farmers and those in the agricultural sector in India?
Thanks, Pranay, for making me part of this show, and I congratulate Rangde for initiating a great initiative, because the farmers are in deep crisis, and we are seeing daily number of migrant labor walking on the roads. They are all part of the rural economy which failed. So let's actually take a step back and look at why the serious crisis in rural India, and then look at how the COVID-19 lockdown has aggravated the whole problem. In India, near about 54.6% people depend on farming, and in that 87% are small and marginal, who farm in less than 2 hectares of land. So more, because they are small and marginal, and the land holdings are small, the income doesn't come just from cultivation alone. So the income comes from various sources. So near about 47% income only comes from cultivation, and about around 32% comes from wages and salaries, and around 13% comes from livestock. When these 3 or 4 combinations of income sources gets affected, the income gets seriously affected. Today, if you look at the average income of farmers in India is around 8,931 rupees per month. And our study showed that the lockdown has affected to an extent of about 60%. And in this 60% also, if we take the breakup, the cultivation, the crops, farmers are unable to sell. Some crops they were unable to sell because it was lockdown, and there was transportation being affected, labor were not available, so farmers couldn't take the harvest, and then even if they have taken the harvest, they couldn't sell it. And particularly the fresh fruits and vegetables market has affected significantly. Similarly, the livestock, the milk and dairy sector has affected significantly.
Right.
And one more important issue about this whole crisis is many of these farmers also are landless.
Yes.
Many of the farmers are landless, so they also take land on lease. So when they take land on lease, they have to pay very high interest rates as well. So today, if you take across the country, near about 50% of the people only get access to institutional credit. Rest of the people actually take from private sources, and the interest rates may vary up to 30-40%. And that's what makes the people more vulnerable.
Yes, Dr. Ramu, if I could ask you a question, that India is one of the few countries where peer-to-peer lending doesn't happen. We have the Mahajan thing, which was there. So now this Rang De effort, how can this be leveraged now?
In fact, the peer-to-peer lending, which is actually borrowing from neighbors and all, was a habit in the country, but it was not in an organized way. So when it is not in an organized way, getting access becomes very difficult. So an organized platform like Rangde helps certainly number of small and marginal farmers to get access to these loans, and these small loans can help them to start new livelihoods. So it's not just about buying seeds; it's also about buying chicks to start a small poultry. It could be a small loan to start a processing unit